School of Management Studies, IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC-001 Management Functions and Organizational Processes for MBA program. Presenting Block 3 Managerial Processes Part 2. Unit-8 Leading and Motivating Part 1.
After completing this unit, you should be able to understand various leadership styles. You will be familiarized with various theories and styles of leadership. You will be able to understand that leadership is a process of shared influence on the work group. You will understand the significance of motivation and various theories of motivation. Introduction. In giving the input on leadership styles and influence process to you, we presume your main aim is to understand and improve your style of functioning as a leader. To start with, you must have clear idea as to what is meant by leadership. Leadership is the activity of influencing people to strive willingly for group objectives. As you can see, this process is a function of the leader, the followers, and the situation. There may not be any particular organization in our mind when we talk of leadership. In any situation where you are trying to influence the behavior of another individual or group, leadership is operating. Thus, each one of us tries leadership. At one time or the other, whether our activities are centered around a business, educational institution, hospital, political organization, government organization, or a family, as part of this process, the one who attempts to influence the behavior of others becomes a potential leader, and the persons he is attempting to influence are the potential followers. This may happen irrespective of the fact that the leader may be their boss or a colleague, associate or a subordinate or a friend or a relative. In other words, through a style of functioning, he or she influences attitudes and expectations which in turn encourage or discourage the follower's activity or achievement, enhance or diminish the follower's commitment to the work, etc. In our day-to-day life, we come across instances of how people are influenced by the activities or word of a person who is trying to lead them. We always make judgments about the leaders of our own office. In our mind, we make a difference between a good leader and a bad one by judging his style or way of functioning and his influence on others. Hence, in understanding the phenomenon of leadership, we must first understand the various styles of the leaders. Having established plans, controls, and an appropriate structure to achieve the organizational objectives, the manager now has to get his people to work. Motivation is that desire or feeling within an individual which prompts him to action. Every individual has needs, desires, and drives which we collectively call motives and which channelize all his or her behavior and action towards achievement of some objectives. The manager's role is to influence each individual's behavior and action towards achievement of common organizational objectives. A great deal of research has been conducted in this area, and there are many theories of motivation. It is not possible to explain all these theories here, and we shall only briefly explain the various factors that can act as motivation. Money is the most commonly used motivating factor in the form of salary, bonus, incentives, commissions, and rewards. Salary or wage is of course the primary motivation, and the poorer the economic background of an individual, the greater the motivational value of money. However, once a basic salary or wage is assured to motivate people to work that little bit extra, achieve that 10% higher sales figure, incentives and commissions come in handy. Most sales organizations pay salary plus incentives to their salespeople. The incentives may be calculated on the basis of individual or team results and may be linked to a sales target. Similar incentives can be offered to the production department. However, performance-linked rewards are difficult to compute in areas such as finance, personnel, and administration where work output cannot be easily measured. A percentage of total profits can be distributed to these departments as incentive. Man does not live by bread alone is an old saying. Man is a social animal and seeks recognition and status in society through his work. The status or position which an individual enjoys in the organization, the number of people who work for him, the non-monetary benefits and perks which he enjoys are important motivational factors. In fact, sometimes these are more important than the actual take-home pay packet. Gupta started his career as a salesman in a medium-sized company manufacturing and marketing stereo systems. Because of his analytical ability, capacity to work hard and achieve results, Gupta soon rose to be the area sales manager of North India. The owner of the company relied a great deal on Gupta's judgment and always consulted him on every important matter. Gupta was making good money, performing well, and enjoyed the great confidence of the owner, yet he felt that there was no power or position in his job which could give him a better status in society. Therefore, when the opportunity arose, Gupta joined an American multinational as divisional manager selling scientific laboratory glassware. It was the glamour, the power, and the status which the job conferred on him that motivated Gupta to join. However, 2 years with the multinational were enough for Gupta to realize that he had no authority to take any independent decisions and he was not deriving any satisfaction from his job. Gupta quit his job and went back to his previous employer. Thus, satisfaction at work is an important motivating factor. The lesson from Gupta's story is that the same individual will be motivated by different factors at different stages of his career. Generally, as you move up the organization to more important positions, the importance of money and monetary benefits as motivating factors decreases and intangible factors such as job satisfaction, confidence of the boss, good relationship with the boss, the status and respect commanded in the organization, etc. become more important. The physical working environment in which a person works also has tremendous motivational force. A pleasant, noise-free, well-lit room with comfortable temperature and proper facilities of telecommunication, secretarial assistance, canteen, transport, etc. is always conducive to work. Different individuals are motivated by different factors. This is because each individual in the organization comes from a different socio-economic, cultural, religious, educational, and family background, and each of these has a role in determining the degree to which he can be motivated by different factors. In most Western countries, a great deal of emphasis is laid on leisure and individuals may be motivated to take up that job which affords greatest opportunity for leisure. The manager's concern is to find a set of common factors which can motivate all his people coming from diverse and different backgrounds and working at different levels of management. The manager's task will be greatly simplified when he understands that motivational factors are present in and can be used in design of work, rewards, work environment, work relationship, and work content. All monetary benefits and non-monetary advantages such as free medical cover, company car and driver, club membership, etc. are part of the work reward and are important motivators. Work environment as a motivating factor first and foremost refers to the status of the organization for which a person works, and the mere fact of his working in that organization gives him that status. Harvard University has the reputation of being amongst the best in the world, and anyone who has graduated from Harvard is generally perceived to be at least above average, is not excellent. The actual physical factors present in the work environment also act as motivators. Relationships developed at work with the boss, colleagues, and subordinates have an important motivating influence. The more congenial, friendly, and supportive are these relationships, the greater their positive motivational value. In contrast, strained relationships which create tension and unhappiness are serious enough reasons for people to leave jobs which in all other respects seem very comfortable and attractive. The design and content of the actual work to be done is in itself an important motivational factor. An element of freedom to experiment with new ideas within the parameters of the job fulfills the creative urge in every individual. Freedom to take decisions and assume responsibility for the results are factors which enhance an individual's self-confidence and feeling of self-esteem. The more such factors can be built into the job, the greater would be the job satisfaction of the individual performing the job. A happy, satisfied worker is a productive worker and a great asset to any organization. If an individual is himself associated with designing the content and objectives of his job, there are greater chances that he will work his utmost to fulfill these objectives. This is the approach known as management by objectives or MBO and has tremendous motivational potential. The manager has not only to motivate his people but also provide them with leadership. To that extent, every manager is a leader. A manager has to inspire and influence his people to willingly work towards achieving the organizational objectives. Much research has been conducted in this field and different studies have emphasized different aspects in attempting to answer the question, what makes an effective leader? When put in a position of leading, you must remember it is a role that you are performing, but that your personality has an important influence on your performance, as does the situation in which you are expected to perform. To be an effective leader, a manager must have a pleasing physical personality, ability to get along with people, qualities of honesty and integrity, and be an excellent speaker. To command respect of others, one must excel at one's basic job, whether it is operating a lathe machine or managing the finances of a large company. The leader must first set an example by own actions rather than by just making speeches. The actions must communicate to the people that he or she belongs to them. Only when one generates this feeling of oneness will be able to inspire confidence among people. Secondly, a manager must remember that he or she is only playing a role. However, to be able to perform effectively, the role demands that the manager be perfectly objective in all the judgments and decisions and be guided only by the organizational objectives and have no other considerations. For a leader, the interests of people are of paramount importance and come first, while personal benefits take second place. Thirdly, the role must be molded according to the unique situation in which the manager is placed. In our society, great emphasis is laid on personal relationships and contacts, and managers are perceived to be father figures and are expected to have a paternalistic attitude towards their workers. In contrast, in the West, especially in countries with a British colonial past, the relationships between manager and worker is only confined to the work. There, if a manager were to adopt a paternalistic approach, would be totally ineffective. A manager who usually follows a consultative, participative approach, seeking the opinions and consensus of subordinates before implementing any decision, in a crisis situation may adopt a very authoritarian approach and effectively manage the situation. When Lee Iacocca took over the management of Chrysler Corporation USA, it was an ailing automobile giant. To bring it out of the loss-making situation, Iacocca inspired tremendous confidence and loyalty in workers by setting personal example of great hard work and accepting only a token wage. Under this leadership, the company was soon able to turn its losses into profits. Political leaders such as Gandhi, who commanded the respect of millions of people, are a model for managers to learn from. Gandhi's leadership style was so finely turned to the moods of the people and the situation that his every word was law for the common man. His actions and lifestyle made the people feel he belonged to them. Leadership styles. The word style is the way in which the leader influences followers. Let us now discuss various studies that help us to understand the leadership styles. Number 1. Hawthorne studies. Mayo and Roethlisberger did a series of studies from 1924 to 1932 in an electricity company at Illinois in USA. These studies are known as Hawthorne studies. One phase of these studies aimed at finding out if changes in illumination, rest period and lunch breaks can affect the productivity of the workers. It was found to the surprise of the researchers that less light, shorter and fewer rest periods and shorter lunch breaks resulted in increased productivity. And once all these changes were eliminated and the normal working conditions were resumed, it was also seen that the workers' productivity and the feeling of being together went up. The increase in productivity was attributed to the attitude of workers towards each other and their feeling of togetherness. In addition, attention paid to the workers by the researchers made them feel important, which resulted in improvement in their work performance. This is known as Hawthorne effect. These findings made Mayo and Roethlisberger conclude that a leader has not only to plan, decide, organize, lead and control, but also consider the human element. This includes social needs of being together and being recognized for the work interaction of the group members with each other and their well-being. A good leader ought to keep all the mentioned aspects in his style of working with people and supervising their work. Number 2. Theory X and Y. McGregor in 1960 categorized leadership styles into two broad categories having two different beliefs and assumptions about subordinates. He called these Theory X and Theory Y. The Theory X style of leaders believe that most people dislike work and will avoid it wherever possible. Such leaders feel they themselves are a small but important group who want to lead and take responsibility, but a large majority of people want to be directed and avoid responsibility. Therefore, this style of leadership exercises strong controls and direction and wherever necessary punish people if they do not do the work. If people do the work as desired, they may even get monetary or other rewards. Theory Y leaders assume that people will work hard and assume responsibility if they can satisfy their personal needs and the objectives or goals of their organization. Such leaders do not sharply distinguish between the leaders and the followers in contrast to Theory X style. They feel that people control themselves within rather than being controlled by others from outside, such as a leader or a manager or a supervisor. An effective leader needs to examine carefully own ideas about the motivation and behavior of subordinates and others, as well as the situation before adopting a particular style of leadership. Number 3. Iowa Leadership Studies. In 1939, Lippitt and White, under the direction of Levin, did a study on 3 different styles of leadership in the task performance of 10-year-old boys in 3 groups. The authoritarian leader of the group was very directive. He did not allow any participation. He was concerned about the task and told the followers what to do and how to do it. He was friendly while praising the performance of the individual member and was impersonal while criticizing the individual member. In the other group, the democratic leader encouraged discussion with the group and allowed participation in making decisions. He shared his leadership responsibilities with his followers and involved them in the planning and execution of the task. The laissez-faire leader of the third group gave complete freedom to the group and did not provide any leadership. He did not establish any policies or procedures to do the task. Each member was let alone. No one attempted to influence the other. The researchers selected boys of the same intelligence level. Each group did the same task of making paper masks or model airplanes or murals or soap carvings. The room used by the 3 groups remained the same. The 3 group leaders assumed different styles as they shifted every 6 weeks from group to group. The researchers, under the direction of Levin, who did several studies on groups, were trying to see how different styles of leadership could change the satisfaction, frustration or aggression levels of the individuals. One definite finding was that 19 out of 20 boys liked the democratic leadership style. That kind of a leader never tried to boss over them, yet they had plenty to do. The only boy who liked the authoritarian style of leadership happened to be the son of an army officer. It was also observed that 7 out of 10 boys preferred the laissez-faire leader to the autocratic one, as they preferred confusion and disorder to strictness and rigidity present in the autocratic style. Boys under the latter style exhibited more of aggressive, hostile and indifferent behavior as compared to their counterparts under other styles of leadership. They either showed hostility or cracked jokes about hostility towards others. Others belonging to the democratic style of leadership showed less aggressive and more indifferent behavior when brought under the autocratic style of a leader. Even under the laissez-faire style of the leader, boys committed more aggressive acts than the ones under the democratic style. Of course, a study on 10-year-old boys in making paper masks or soap carving, etc. cannot be compared to leader behavior of adults with complex jobs. But like the studies of Mayo and Roethlisberger, the studies by Levin, Lippitt and White are a pioneering effort in understanding leadership styles from the point of scientific methodology. They also throw light on how different styles of leadership can produce different complex reactions from the same or similar groups. Michigan Studies on Leadership Styles. Likert in 1961 at University of Michigan Survey Research Center identified 2 major styles of leadership orientations: employee orientation and production orientation. The employee-oriented style of the leader emphasizes the relationship aspect of the jobs of the individual. Such a leader takes interest in everyone and accepts the individuality and personal needs of the individual. He or she has complete confidence and trust in all matters in subordinates. The subordinates feel free to discuss things about their jobs with their superior. Subordinates were asked for ideas and opinions and always tries to make constructive use of them. The production-oriented style of the leader emphasizes production and technical aspects of the job. Subordinates or employees are looked at tools to accomplish the goals of the orientation. Work, working condition and work methods are tried to be understood better in his style of the leadership orientation. Likert related these orientations to the performance of the employees. It showed that the employee-oriented style brought high-producing performance compared to production-oriented style. Of course, the satisfaction of employees was not directly related to productivity in Likert's study. Ohio State Studies on Leadership Styles. Stockdale in 1957 at the Bureau of Business Research at Ohio State University initiated a series of researches on leadership in 1945. He, along with his colleagues, studied leader behavior in numerous types of groups and situations by using a Leader Behavior Description Questionnaire, that is LBDQ. The studies were conducted on Air Force commanders and members of bomber crews, officers, non-commissioned personnel, civilian administrators in the Navy Department, manufacturing supervisors, executives, teachers, principals, and school superintendents and leaders of various civilian groups. They did not have any satisfactory definition of leadership. They also did not think leadership is synonymous with good leadership. The LBDQ was administered in a wide variety of situations, and surprisingly, 2 dimensions of leadership continually emerged from the study. One is consideration and the other is initiating structure. Consideration. It reflects the extent to which individuals are likely to have job relationship characterized by mutual respect for subordinates, ideas, and consideration of subordinates' feelings. You may like to describe it as the behavior of the leader indicating friendship, mutual trust, respect, and warmth in the relationship between the leader and his group members. Initiating structure. It reflects the extent to which individuals are likely to define and structure their roles and those of their subordinates towards goal attainment. In other words, it is the behavior of the leader which deals with the relationship between himself and the work group and tries to establish well-defined patterns of organization, channels of communication, and method of procedure. And the last is scientific manager style. Taylor in 1911 stressed the best way of doing a job. He emphasized the importance of having management and labor work in harmony to maximize profits. The basis of scientific management was technological in nature. It was felt that the best way to increase output was to improve the techniques or methods used by workers. Therefore, profit can be maximized by using a systematic and scientifically based approach to the study of jobs. Taylor was not trained as a manager. He relied on scientific study of time and movement spent and used for a job to improve the performance of the workers. According to the scientific managerial style, management of a work organization must be divorced from human affairs and emotions, and people have to adjust to the management and not management to the people. Once jobs are recognized with efficiency in mind, the economic self-interest of the workers could be satisfied through various incentive work plans such as piece rate system of payment, etc. The leader is assumed to be the most competent individual in planning and organizing the work of subordinates according to Taylor's principle of scientific management. Various studies reflecting different styles of functioning of a leader have been stated so far, which highlights how the leader simultaneously pays attention to the number 1. Tasks to be accomplished by the group, and number 2. Needs and expectations of the group and its individual members. Exactly how the leader goes about attending to these two functions is a matter of one's leadership style. Many theories have been suggested by the researchers regarding which leadership style is most effective. Even the two functions that have been mentioned so far can have different descriptions for different leaders. But in course of time, every leader develops a particular style which reflects his own ideas and perspectives on the relative importance of tasks and people. We should now consider in what ways we can enrich the understanding of various styles of leadership by making ourselves familiar with some important theories of leadership.
You were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies, IGNOU, for MBA program. Course code MMPC-001, Management Functions and Organizational Processes. Course Coordinator, Professor Srilata, School of Management Studies, IGNOU. Voice over by Harpreet Kaur. Edited by Tarannum Jahan. Program assisted by Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.